Hey guys, my name is Brandon Casey, and this is the Missile Guidance System's final flight on growing up. So, just to introduce this speech that I will be going over, it's called the Missile Guidance System's final flight. It may be a meme, but it has some wisdom for us all. I've listened to this speech over 100 times, and each time I hear it, it's just as impactful as the last and the first time I've heard it. And it's really just about how we all need to grow up, and if we don't do that, the world will most likely fall apart. It's pretty important that we do that. It's just as the missile, we need to be precise with our calculations, and we need to be accurate. We need to be deadly, not physically deadly, but like we have to have that mentality. And I'll be quickly rifling through the Missile Guidance System's final flight here in a second, and how we can apply that to people today as we grow up, and the benefits and the consequences if not afterwards. So to provide you some context, this speech can be found on YouTube and iFunny, and I wouldn't recommend you looking it up on iFunny. It's kind of a sketchy site, but the author of the speech is somewhat of a mystery. The speech itself, it goes about making it seem like the missile is giving the speech itself. It may sound strange, but if you look up this speech, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It focuses on finding your course, pushing through what we need to do, and telling us that there's no going back. There's only one way, and it's forward. We don't need to be taking steps backwards. So, who is affected by this? The missile goes over its own course, why it's doing it, and it tells us to do the same, to follow its footsteps, I guess if you can say that, since it's a missile. So what happens is the missile, it knows its target, it knows everything about this situation. It doesn't really tell us what that target is exactly, but it knows that it has to leave. It knows where it's going, it knows where it is, and it knows where it's not. And it's made all the calculations, and it pushes through regardless, even though it knows it won't be coming back. And how the story ends, it ends with the missile sacrificing itself to save everybody. What that means exactly is kind of up to interpretation, but it sacrifices its own self to do what it needs to do. Kind of like we need to make sacrifices every day in growing up. To adapt that to today, in the year 2023, people lack taking accountability. They take offense to everything. Take a cancel culture, for example. Some things I may agree with or disagree with, but we shouldn't be offended by it. We should just know that if somebody says is wrong, they're wrong. But that's not really what happens with cancel culture, as you guys might know. But now we can observe some positives of growing up. We have one of the most, we have the privilege of living in one of the most moderately safe, moderately economically stable, saying that with a little bit of hesitancy there, but we live in one of the most safest parts of the world, and one of the most safest times in mankind's history. So with that all being said, I would just like to challenge everyone to be more like the missile. Know where you're going, know where you need to go, and not looking behind. The missile doesn't look behind, it pushes forward. And be the change you want to be in the world. Pick your targets carefully and with consideration. And not everything in life is easy. The sooner you can come to terms with that, and with the hands that we're dealt in life, the sooner we can get to our target together. And just to conclude real quick, some effects of the speech that I've encountered. This is a very extremely motivating speech to me. I listen to it all the time. I do runs. Every time I do a race, I listen to this speech just beforehand. It's very motivating. It tells us to find the target and to not falter from the course that we must take. The long-term unforeseen effects of this speech. As much it may scare me, I honestly believe the only way for our generation to really grow up is by going through hardships together. Hard times build strong men and strong women. There's definitely strong women and men out there. And just to review the last main points, we must know where we are, we need to know where we need to be, and we need to push ourselves to get there, just like the missile. So just to conclude, we all need to work on growing up on a personal level, but we also need to work together to give this world a better tomorrow. Thank you for giving your time listening to my speech. I hope you guys have a good one.